In a world where Star Wars isn't Star Wars, Star Trek isn't Star Trek, and Doctor Who isn't Doctor Who anymore, we can now add The Last of Us to the list of franchises completely destroying themselves with trite, woke garbage. The ongoing trend of subverting expectations is starting to become a cancer in modern storytelling, especially when it forces you to play as a oppressed lesbian for 6 hours. This form of bait and switch is very much insulting the intelligence of the audience and just isn't going to fly anymore in 2020. Also, I want to make something very clear. Without Joel as a protagonist, there is no Last of Us 2. So at the very least, he deserved a proper heartfelt and dignified send-off. And we literally got the exact opposite. And speaking of Joel, I mean, he just can't catch a break. First his daughter dies right in front of him, she gets shot. Then he loses a possible love interest when Tess dies, and after all that, he gets completely humiliated in the worst way. And Neil Druckmann and Anita Sarkeesian will have you think that if you aren't responding well to these leaks, then you are automatically either a sexist or a homophobe. But the reality is, we are just allergic to bad writing, and shoehorning a transgender character whose entire identity revolves around his or her gender in a story that has nothing to do with either is the moment when you fail. You do not write a transgender character, you write a character that happens to be transgender. Ideally, you'd make a kick-ass sarcastic rogue elite sharpshooter with a heavy dose of sarcasm and secretly a big heart. If you focus on these traits in the character development, you can then make it a black trans woman if that's what turns you on. That is basic writing 101. People dislike the man-beast Abby not because she's trans, but because she's unrelatable and basically impossible to ever empathize with. I'd still hate her if she was a man. I'd still hate her if she was a woman with huge tits. It doesn't matter how she looks. I just dislike her because she's a terrible written character. Out of everything that happens in the first Last of Us, they decide to base an entire sequel off a character whose face you don't even see. He's one of 500 NPCs that they force you to kill, in which they don't even give the surgeon any importance or lay any groundwork for future games. If they were planning this from the beginning, it would have been much better if they actually put a face to which Dr. Joel killed. If that was indeed Abby's father, maybe giving him more significance or humanity would make the whole vengeance plot feel way more justified in the next game. And also, let's suspend our disbelief that this trans person showing up in what's essentially a post-apocalyptic world where most medical resources, scarce as they are supposed to be geared towards survival and not sex changes or hormonal drugs. All in all, this makes me feel bad for the Naughty Dog employees who are forced to work like slaves for this garbage. If game companies would just stop hiring people with coloured hair, gouges in their ears, piercings in their nose and wear glasses they don't need, we'd have much better games. And on that bombshell, Mannix out.